Today I'm going to be explaining the concept of SQL left and right joins. This type of join is incredibly useful in SQL and something that you will use almost every single day as you learn the SQL language and interact with data in a database. Now, this video is part of my Learn SQL for Free video series. You don't have to have watched any of the other previous videos in the series to follow this video, but if anything I say is confusing to you, go watch the earlier videos in the series in the video playlist linked down in the video description. Now I know from my video analytics, yes, analytics, that most of you aren't subscribed that are watching these videos. If you're interested in SQL or Power BI, which is what I'm primarily making videos on right now, please consider subscribing as I'm releasing quite a few videos a week around things that I find interesting and, kind of teaching from my experience working with data in a professional environment. And with that out of the way, let's start talking SQL joins. All right, so here we have an example of a left join and a right join. Let's pretend that each one of these circles represents two tables of data. So let's call the yellow one customers and the orange one orders. Customers will have information that, might be about our customer, like name, address, so on and so forth. And orders is going to have information about the order's place. So order ID, order date, so on and so forth. When you combine these two tables, you can see not only data about the order, but also about the customer. That's just typically generally the value of a join in SQL. Now, here's a breakdown between left joins and right joins. So in a left join, you can always think of the left table having priority. When you're writing a SQL query, it'll always take all of the rows from the left table, so this essentially yellow one, and then only the matching rows from the right table. If there's no match, unlike an inner join, which is what we talked about in our previous video, it will still keep the row from this left or yellow table, but essentially any column that you selected out of the right table will have a null. So in our example, the customers left join orders would show all customers regardless of if they have an order. And then if they don't have an order, any column that you pulled from this order table would be null. Right join, you might have guessed it, it's the complete opposite. It will prioritize the right table. So we'll take all of its rows from the right table and then only the ones that match from the left table. So if the left table's in the from, right, and this is right joined on, it will keep all the rows from this one and select only the ones in the from statement that match. So if we were to go customers right join orders, you would get all orders even if they don't have any customer information in the table. So what are kind of the key takeaways that I want you to take? Direction matters, right? So a left join is not the same as a right join. A null value is essentially kind of your clue. They're going to indicate where you're missing data from the non-prioritized table in the left join or right join. And then there's really honestly no difference in functionality in these joins other than the order of the table, right? So if you use a left join and then you flip the order of the table, that's the equivalent of just having done that as a right join. All right, makes sense? If it doesn't, don't worry, we're about to go look at some examples. Okay, so here I am logged into the SQL server that we set up in some of our earlier videos in this series. Again, shout out, if you want to follow along, go watch those earlier videos. But in our first example, we're going to be looking at a left join. And we're going to be wanting to find all the customers and their orders, including customers without an order. So how are we going to go about doing this? Well, we're going to first write select, right? Always do that. And then go from, and it's a left join. So we want to put the table that we want to get all the rows from up here. So in this case, I want to go SQL practice, right? .dbo.customers, because that's the table I want all of the rows for. I'm going to give it an alias of C. And then I'm going to go left join, right? SQL practice .dbo.orders as O, right? And so that now is going to give me if I go right here on customer ID, and oop, I forgot to join on the criterion. So I'll go on c.customer ID equals o.customer ID, right? So I'll select c.customer ID, I'll select o.customer ID, and then I will select o.order ID. And when we run this query, what we're going to get is we're going to get all the rows from customers, right? And then all of the orders, we'll get a row for each and every single order. But if there's a customer, right, that doesn't have an order, these two columns will be null because they will essentially not have a match. And that brings us to our good, a good example on how we can use this null behavior to essentially filter tables. So let's look at an example number 2, which is we're finding all customers that haven't placed an order. So we can take this same piece of SQL right here, and we can then go where o.order ID is null. Okay, and when we run this, what it's going to do is it's going to return us the customer IDs of all customers in our database that have not placed an order. So why is this behavior useful? Well, if you're working in a production database, you need to be able to find bad data, right? So an inner join is always going to be more efficient than a left or right join. But sometimes in a large scale production application or relational database coming out of a production application, you don't always have clean data. This check right here to make sure, hey, are all of my customers in the orders table, or are all of my orders associated with a customer that we have in the customers table, is an essential check in kind of determining data quality. All right, got it? Okay, let's move on to example number 3. So example number 3 is going to be the exact same thing, only we're going to use a right join. So if I take this code right here and go right join, right, we'll get very similar looking results. But when we go ahead and we run this, what do you think this query is returning? And you notice I didn't paste the the example 3, what we're actually doing up here. So what do you think it's doing? Well, what it's doing is it's returning a row for every single order, and then the matching customers, including the orders that are not associated with a customer. Got it? And let me go ahead and bring this into screen. So why is that useful? Well, we can redo this exact same check right here. Boom, boom, boom. We can change this back to a right join. And then we can change this away from o.orders ID, right, because that's coming from the orders, to c.orders ID. And we can make sure that every single, we'll change this to c.customer ID, c.customer ID. And when we run this, we can make sure that every single order has a customer in our customers table associated with it. And it looks like that's true because we got a null value, which means, hey, there are no scenarios where in this join, a customer isn't populated that exists in the orders table. So that's key, all right? This is really, for me, the primary use case of these kinds of joins, right? The other primary use case is where you don't want to drop rows from your join accidentally, right? So you say, hey, I want all my customers. I'm not sure all customers have placed an order, but if they have placed an order, I want to see the order. Then you would use a left join, right? Because in that scenario, if it was an inner join, you wouldn't get those customers that haven't placed an order. All right, so those are our examples. Let's move on to our practice problems. So practice problem number 1, I want you to find all products that have not had an order placed against them. Pause the video now, and if you're following along, attempt this practice problem. Okay, we're back. All right, so let's go ahead and solve this. So I believe product ID is in our orders item table, right? But we want our base table to be products because we want to return all products. And I'm going to use a left join here. So I'm going to go select star from SQL practice.dbo.products. I'll go as P, and then I'll go left join, and I'll go SQL practice.dbo.orders item as OI, and I'll go on P dot product ID equals OI dot product ID, and I will go where, right, because I want to find a product that hasn't had an order placed against it. So I'll go where OI dot product ID is null, right? And then from P, I will go select distinct, and I'll go P dot product name, right? And that will return all distinct product names that don't exist in my orders item table. So I'll go ahead and run that. And look at that. All of my products have had at least one order placed against them. So that's the solution to practice problem number 1. Okay, practice problem number 2. So in this scenario, we're going to be doing a data quality check. So we're going to make sure that every single order in the order table has at least one item or row in the order item table. So this is a classic data check. So let's go. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go select star from, and I'll go SQL practice dot dbo dot orders as O, and then I will go left join SQL practice dot dbo dot orders item as OI, and I will go on O dot order ID equals OI dot order ID, and I will go right here and I'll go where OI dot order ID is null. Now we're really hoping that we don't get any results, right? Because I'm saying like, hey, I don't want to find anything here. So let's go ahead and let's run that. And it looks like we might have had quite a few rows here, right, where order ID is null. So where we had a total amount of $0. So if I was working with this data in a corporate setting, this would be a big red flag to me and something I'd want to call out. But we can double check that our left join is successfully identifying these weird scenarios where we have an order, but no order items on it by going select star from SQL practice.dbo.orders item. We'll go as OI again, and we'll go where OI.order ID equals, and we'll just take the first one off the list here, so this 447, and we'll run this just to confirm. And look at that, no rows. So here we go. Here's our left join with an is null, helping us catch a data quality problem in our database. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed learning about left and right joins. If you're interested in more videos like this, please consider subscribing. I release a lot of videos on Power BI as well as SQL and just business intelligence in general, or things I'm kind of excited about. I'd love to have you join me for more videos. So with that, thanks for watching.